All right, so we are getting close to being able to do the recording of me and the pictures of me, how I align, doing that yoga, visualization, and meditation. Trying to get the wrinkles out of the backdrop and have the lights set up, yay. And then we're going to be doing this. And I had to think about why I was having a little bit of anxiety about this particular shoot. Normally, it's no big deal. I have this wonderful little remote thing. I go, smile, click, click, and I can take pictures myself. Saves a tremendous amount of money. Don't do a lot of Photoshop work. Usually it's more on the background because you know what? This is who I am. I'm not going to Photoshop this. It's all my flaws, whatever. This is me. I keep it real. So what was the issue? And I had to really think about that. I had to really think about why I had procrastinated so long on this one. Yes, I could give the excuse of, well, I moved and I had to get some new backdrops. I had to get things set up, and I could go da 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 da, and give you all the reasons that would seem to be very legitimate as to why I could not do this photo shoot sooner than I'm doing it, because it's the 30th. My February training starts on the 1st. I've never been this late. And I had to think about that. I had to process that. And here is what I realized. And it was really quite deep and profound for me. Now, here is the beauty of this. Because I'm not associated to any religion, because I don't believe in hellfire and damnation, because I don't believe in the punishment of gods, the decisions that I make are based on what resonates and what aligns with me. So we're going to go into a little bit about the spiritual side of me. I have often been asked why I don't believe in hellfire and damnation. And my answer is always the same. I says, because I've lived in hell. And my book explains a little bit more on that. And when you've lived in hell, you don't fear hell because you've been there, done that. I am also often asked why I don't believe in a God. And that answer is because I have not found any of the gods in all the religious texts that I've studied that resonate with me. Do I believe that there is a higher power? Yes. I personally believe it's all tied to scientific measures and laws that govern the universe. I believe that miracles are universal laws that are beyond our comprehension to understand. But they are always backed by universal laws. And I believe that nature applies those universal laws. So if I were to call upon anything, or I would call it Father Universe, Mother Nature. More of an application of universal laws that govern the universe, and then Mother Nature that applies those universal laws to nature. So that is probably the closest I'm going to get to a similarity of a God. So the beauty that I feel that my beliefs are, and I totally respect every person's belief. I find conversations about different beliefs very intriguing and fascinating to me. I learned so much and I appreciate it. And hopefully I am respected as well. If I'm not, that is your choice. I will always choose to respect others' beliefs because I think that is important. So the decisions I make in my life are what resonate within me. They are not governed by any external force, any force of pertaining to fears, any force of if you do this, this will occur. So therefore you need to do this in order for this good to happen. That doesn't resonate with me. I do apply the Hinduism of karma. I do believe that is more in line with vibrational energies. You attract vibrational energy that is attracted to you based on your vibrational energy. And when you have a higher vibrational energy, you will attract other things and individuals who have a higher vibrational energy. And that is why I constantly strive to maintain my vibrational energy and to continue to lift it higher. For Buddhism, I do apply the whole understanding that life journey is all about learning, and it's all about embracing the journey. From Christianity, I learned a lot about metaphors. The best one I can describe would be their parable of the manna from heaven, and how it is that Moses went and called upon their God, and because the people were starving, and God delivered manna from heaven, and the rule was that you could only collect enough for that day. And if you collected more than that, it would become wormy and rotten. I think that is a beautiful, absolutely perfect, beautiful metaphor to life. What we do on a daily occurrence. We can't go and say, okay, I did my good deed today, so therefore I did 10 good deeds for today, so therefore I don't need to do anything good tomorrow or the next day, because I'm just going to gather up my good deeds and I'm going to spread them out. It doesn't work that way. We have to be kind every day. We have to be gentle every day. We have to try and listen and understand people every day. You can't store those up and say, you know what, I got a good bank account on that, and now I can just coast. So that's how I look at the Christianity text, is when I go and I look at and I read theirs, I see the beautiful metaphors that can be applied into life. For the Quran, the Quran has also beautiful metaphors as well, and I'm just delving into the Quran, but I'm finding it has some very beautiful, very, very beautiful scriptures and passages that are very harmonizing and very peaceful. So I'm just delving into that, so I can't really articulate very well. So those would be, and then the New Age religion, the mystics. Applying them in my life is because they have a more open and broader mindset to being able to be willing to learn from various things, and they're not as limiting as far as I can only read this certain scriptures, or I can only read this certain thoughts and apply those in my life. They tend to be more open. So as I've studied religion, I have gathered what has resonated with me, and I have applied those in my life. So as I share this why I'm having a little bit of anxiety about this photo shoot. Maybe that will help you understand. That will help you understand that my decision and my reasoning and my choices are based off of me. It's not based off of any external thing. All right, so when I left the cult, it was very controlling as to what you could and couldn't wear. And so I had to learn what my fashion style was. I was, for the first time, free to wear whatever I wanted to wear. There was nothing that was holding me back. I could go to the store, I could pick out anything, I could wear whatever I wanted to wear. And that freedom was like, wow. But it was also like, whoa, what do I want to wear? What is going to represent me? So I did a lot of research. I looked at a lot of sites. I went and did a lot of window shopping. I went and did a lot of people observing. And the best way I can describe my journey in that area of my life would be from the very favorite movie of mine, which is My Fair Lady. You know how she had to be taught, and that's kind of how that's it. That's the best way I can describe. That's the best way I could describe my journey. And I realized as I was studying, used Pinterest heavily. I have some incredible Pinterest boards on different fashions. As I was gathering things up, I came with my own style of sophisticated edge. That's how I wanted to present myself to the public. A very sophisticated person, but had a little bit of her own edgy, unique style. And that is what has resonated with me. So I tend to dress up because I like to dress up. When I'm going out, I don't wear jeans. I think they're uncomfortable. If I wear leggings, when I wear leggings, I will usually put over like a mini skirt over the leggings, because I think leggings personally are a little revealing for me. So with that understanding, for me to go and do this yoga shoot to show you how I'm aligned, I've tried to decide, okay, what am I going to wear? Because what I wear when I'm here is very form-fitting, and it is somewhat revealing. And I had to ask myself, is that something I want to share openly with the public? And then you have to think about the swimsuit. And I'm thinking, okay, well, eventually I am going to get in a swimsuit, and I'm going to go 15 minutes away from the beach, and I'm going to go on that beach in a public setting, and I haven't done that in well over 15 years, and I'm going to be in a bathing suit. And so that's going to be more revealing out in a public setting than what I'd wear with yoga. So maybe you need to baby step this in, Carin. Those were my thoughts. And then I had to peel back that layer, and I had to think about my body. And you have to understand, and I share this in more detail in my book, you have to understand that I never really had what every girl dreams of having in her wedding, a beautiful wedding. My wedding was very traumatizing, life-altering, and it had long-term ramifications. I've not had what most have ever dreamed of with a honeymoon. My honeymoon was another traumatic event in my life, and had long-term ramifications. those two events, my first journey into womanhood, I despised my body. I couldn't look at myself naked in a mirror and find my body attractive. I could not look at myself. I hated my body. And it wasn't until after the divorce and then after I left the cult that I had to learn how to love my body again. Strip myself down naked, stand in front of the mirror, and just tackle that venture of accepting my body and loving it. And it took a tremendous amount of effort, and it took a tremendous amount of exploration and a lot of processes to learn to love me and love my body. So my body tends to be very sacred to me. It is not something that I share. So without having me turn red, I've only been with two men. I was with my ex-husband, for almost 30 years, and then I was in a relationship for 7. I don't plan on being with another man unless that is a person that I will finish this life realm with. And I will say, it's going to take one brave soul, one tremendously brave soul, to take off my path ring. So for that brave soul who would take off that path ring and put on his own, that is who I would share that part of me with, completely and fully. Heart, body, mind, soul, spirit become one. And that doesn't necessarily mean on my, honeymoon. That doesn't necessarily mean that. That would be a discussion between him and I. But it's not going to be a one-night stand. It's not going to be a knock on the door. It's not going to be a booty call. I don't do those things. So if I were to share my body or pictures of my body with somebody, it would only be with somebody that I felt a gazillion times confident that we would be finishing this realm together. And because that part of me is very sacred to me. So even though, the swimsuit thing and the yoga thing, you're not revealing private parts and stuff, that's the reason why it is somewhat uncomfortable. And when I realized that, I could respect the Muslim traditions who choose to cover their bodies, because I could understand a little bit better about their reasoning why. And whether it is tied to, religion or punishment or whatever, I'm not going to go into that. I know that there are women who have the freedom to not wear those coverings, but choose to, and I respect that choice. Because that's something that, not to that extreme, but that's something that I can understand. So I respect that choice. For those who choose to, go out there and feel very confident with their body, and they wear what they feel comfortable in, and if it may be really, really, really revealing, I want you to know I'm going to be going, you go, girl. You are looking good. Wish I had that bravery, but, and I will celebrate your ability to express yourself and present yourself in the way that you do. So my personal beliefs have nothing to do with me looking at, at one or the other. I will say, and I say this in my book, in my exploration of trying to learn to love my body, I explored my body fully. And part of that is I took, had lovely little remote, pull this up and you go click. I took remote pictures of myself. There was no photographer. I took remote pictures of myself. And I did share those with my boyfriend who I was with. And for me, they are extremely beautiful because, and they make me smile because I know where I was at that point in my life. And I kind of give myself a high five for being brave to be able to do that. In my book, I have said, I have thought if I ever were to do an art gallery and do paintings of my journey, transitioning out there, I have often thought of maybe including some of those as part of that because it is such an important part of my journey. So I'm never afraid of anything being put out there. If all of a sudden they were posted on a billboard and that, you know what, I would just look up there and go, dang, you didn't look too bad, girl, back then. And now guess what? Everybody knows you have the same funeral parts as everybody else. And it wouldn't disturb me. It's not something that I would appreciate, but it wouldn't be something that I would run and hide from, because that's something that, like I said, I could never be blackmailed. I don't respond to threats. So they're there and they're beautiful to me. And someday maybe I will, someday maybe I won't. That would probably be a decision that me and whoever I am with would make together, because if I ever have somebody, some would say, yeah, do that. That would be good. And some would say, no, that would make me feel uncomfortable. So that would be a discussion we'd have to make. So I'm trying to decide here what to wear. Still not knowing. Still not sure what I'm going to do. You will find out when I start posting the pictures February 1st. So that gives you a little bit of information about this new journey of going in and sharing with you how I align. So real fast, I'm going to just briefly, let's get this down here. I'm going to briefly just give you a real short version of what I do. So here's what I do. I don't have a set pattern every day. I listen to my body, I listen to my heart, my mind, my soul, and I say things that are resonating with me, and I also move my body in a way that feels right. There are a few things that you will find I will always be consistent, and that is in aligning myself. You will also hear me talk a lot about the yin, which is the female creative side of us, and I attach spiritual and relational to that, and the yang, which is the masculine side of us, which is the strategic side, and I attach the physical and the financial. And bringing those four elements together to to fulfill my destiny, a higher purpose, and a plan. So those are some of the things. One of the other things that I do is I do a balancing, and I'll show you that, where I will balance on one leg and then I will balance on the other. And why I do that is because I find when I am struggling and balancing on one leg, that is telling me that either the yin or the yang side is weak and I need to strengthen that. So those are some of the commonalities that we have. I have standing poses, I have sitting poses. The pictures will have a combination of both. For today, I'm going to just do standing. So this will give you a brief introduction into what I do. And usually we'll start, and I will have earphones on, and I'll have some soft music. I take a cleansing breath. Exhale as I aligning my chakras. And then I begin. On this day, I choose to align myself to a higher purpose and plan. I open myself up to receiving guidance and direction on how to fulfill my purpose and my plan and my desires and destiny. Let me always be mindful of my balance and purpose and intent. I raise my wings to fly higher and to become stronger. I always balance and bow in gratitude for the belief in me and for the belief that with every struggle, with every obstacle, with every challenge, that I am able to gather my strength and to rise again. I embrace and blow into the blue ember to ignite the flame within, to have it flow through my body, to give me strength and courage. Just as the sun rises, I will rise. And as the sun bows to the moon, I will always bow. As the moon rises, I will rise. And as the moon bows to the sun, I will always bow. Let me always reach out to those who have different beliefs than I do. They are neither right nor not wrong. They are neither left, they are not or right. They are simple expressions of their beliefs and desires. And let me learn and embrace the lessons from learning from their experiences. As a warrior of light and truth, I raise my shield of hope to allow others to know that hope is always there. I raise my sword of truth to stand up for truth and honor. And together we raise higher. Help me to realize that there will be times in my life when the yang must be strong enough to support the physical financial realms will be in balance and will be strong enough to support all that I desire to fulfill the higher goal and purpose in my life. And there will be times when my yin must embrace my yang and be supportive. Let me always remember that there will be times when my yin must be strong enough and aligned to hold strong in the creative, the spiritual, and the relation in order to feel a higher plan and purpose. There will be times when my yang must wrap around and support my yin. And give acknowledgement that my yin is strong and can support a higher purpose and plan. For it is together, the yin, the yang, that I am one. On this day, as I align myself to a higher purpose and plan to fulfill my destiny, my wings are extended. I am open to receiving guidance and direction into how I can fulfill this higher purpose and the desires of my heart. I am not bound, but I am bound to acknowledge that I am one. I am the blue flame warrior of light. The blue flame flows freely through me, giving me strength and courage. And as I embrace life's journey, as I embrace life's lessons, it is through fears that are diminished, it is through failures that I learn, and it is through them that I am guided. And on this day, I give gratitude and acknowledgement to all those who have come before and who will come after, who will be a part of my journey. I am aligned, I am one with my purpose, my destiny. And in gratitude, I commit myself this day. So that is something that I just explored, just moving the way my body felt was right, saying the words that came from my heart and my soul. So nothing special. It changes every day. And I try to do that in the morning. If it's not in the morning, then I will definitely do it in the evening. And for Instagram, for February, I am going to be taking more of strategic shots of different poses. And then every day I will share a pose with an affirmation that I would say with that type of pose. So that is what will be on Instagram. For February on YouTube, what I'm going to do. February is the month of love. We are going to talk about love. We're going to talk about loving ourselves. We're going to talk about what we love in our lives. We're going to talk about what we want to align with. And I've decided, I've really thought hard about this, but I've decided I'm going to move forward in this. We are going to talk about loving yourself physically. Again, I don't associate with any religion. So therefore, exploring yourself and being able to know what is pleasurable, what makes you feel well, what makes you feel good, I think is a part of life experience. And that is something that I had to do after I left the cult. Because, you know, with the cult, it was like, you don't touch, because if you don't touch, you don't have to tell somebody that you were touching and they get reprimanded. So I had to learn about my body because I didn't know about that. We're talking G-rated health classes. And so even though I was quite a mature woman when I left the cult, I had to go back and study anatomy. My favorite, I will tell you right now, my very favorite college class was called Evolution of Sex. And it was the studying the sexual behavior of the species all over the planet. I found that fascinating. I personally think that the species do a better job in picking out mates than I think a lot of times us humans do. We could definitely take notes from other species. So I decided I am going to talk a little bit about that. And the reason why I've decided to do that is because there are women that are like myself who may need that little bit of understanding. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to do it in a very respectful, appropriate manner. But yes, we are going to talk about that exploration because I think it's important. I think it's important because just to let you know, there are YouTube channels that are extremely popular that teach men how to pick up women for the exclusive intent of just having sex with them. I know because I've watched them because I find that fascinating. I'm like, okay, with a glass of wine as I'm drinking. Okay, so now I know that trick. Thank you for sharing and let me know. That's a trick that is being taught. So we're going to talk about some of those things. We're going to talk about some of the things that you can do to explore yourself, and we're going to go down that whole love realm. That's a little uncomfortable for me, but I'm going to go into that realm. So that is what we are going to do in February. We're going to talk about all aspects of love. The good news is, you know what? I think I have like less than 10 followers, so you know. It's not like I'm going to have this massive drop of followers by delving into this area, this arena. And my Instagram account, I just every day, it's just there's whether I increase followers or whether the followers decrease, you know what? It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I do what I do because I like it. So that's what's in store for Instagram. What's on Instagram is also posted on Twitter and on my Facebook. For YouTube, you get the videos. All right, so we will talk with you tomorrow. I have a photo shoot I need to do. All right, see ya.